Eyup cock. It's League One predictions, baby. I couldn't do Tuesday's games because I had a shoot in Manchester, so I literally couldn't get it out in time. Apologies, but we're back to normal now. Back to our scheduled programming. As for bets, we're miles down. It's beyond disgusting at this point. I feel like I need like at least 2 results to go bang on because our odds are working and the amount that I'm putting on. I'm in trouble. But without further Jimmy Abdul. Crawley versus Reading up first. I mean, Crawley getting battered now, aren't they? They're conceding a lot of goals. Even the game that they've like won recently, they still conceded at home to Stevenage. They had 4 away at Bolton, 2 at home to Wrexham. They're conceding at least like 1 a game in the past like couple of months against a Reading side that also just don't concede that many really. I think they've conceded 3 in about 7-8 games. Really tight at back. Reading, I really like the centre backs. That Binden's gone to Forest, hasn't he? And they've loaned him back out. He's going to be summer team. I really like the defence Reading. So straight off bat, like I always go with defensive side. You know, if you've got two evils coming up against each other, like one that concedes nothing and one that scores millions of goals or has loads of goals in the games, I always side with the defensive one. And I just think, I can't see a game here involving Reading that's going to be like 3-2. Do you know what I mean? Like Crawley's often have got that many goals in them. I don't think Reading will lose, let's put it that way. Their away form is iffy to say at least. But Crawley just aren't at races, are they? They're just not good enough, unfortunately. 64 goals conceded as well. I'm torn for a draw or a win for Reading. I do think it'll be a close game. It'll be like a 1-0, 0-0, 1-1, something along them lines. I will go with a safe 2-1 to Reading to get us started. But I feel like that is quite a tough one to get us going. I said about them all. They can't all be tough ones, can they? Stockport, Charlton. Well, apparently they can. Charlton obviously bet us on Tuesday. But like I said in my AFL review yesterday, I don't actually think they were that good of a side. Without sounding too harsh, I just thought they took advantage of the one chance that they effectively had, which were a free kick from 50 yards. But defensively, the one thing I will give them, defensively they are very good. Very tight, very well organised and structured. The best thing that we did all game were Keeler done just picking it up on like halfway line and taking it past about 7 people. That's the only decent thing that we did all game. But Stockport home are a good team. Like a really good team. The last two, they bet us 2-1, they bet Blackpool 2-1, they bet Shrewsbury. They got a point against Birmingham at home, didn't they, as well? But again, though, I feel like Charlton are high on life, you know. I seriously do. The way they won away at Leyton Orient with 2 like 90+ minute equaliser and winner. Then they bet us 1-0. Stockport drew to Northampton overnight. They've been dropping a couple points here and there. Stockport, their place, have got a really good record. I'm going to go with a draw, I think. No, I'm not. I'm sort of like, I feel like I've got Angel and Devil on my shoulder. Charlton. I know I've just said that I don't think they'll win here. But if anybody's going to win this game, I do think it'll be Charlton. And I might play odds a little bit because Stockport you'd think are going to be favourites with it being at home and everything. I might play odds and go 2-1 Charlton. Honestly, I'm doing it. I think that they're chipping away quite nicely, Charlton. I think they could do it. Barnsley, Blackpool. Blackpool back to usual with draw at home to Peterborough. It's just a million draws and then a loss away at Stockport 2 games ago. We'd won 3 games in a row before the Charlton game, but not actually looked particularly brilliant in any of them. Do you know what I mean? But we're good going forward against Lincoln, but then your defence lets you down. So there's always some at wheels. Like I said, against Charlton, we didn't create a great deal, but we're fortunate to have probably one of, if not best player in the league, in Dunn. So, all right, I'll stick with the one of. Not the best. Not far off, but he's not the best. Blackpool just draw merchants, and I've not even got like a million things to say about this. I won't be surprised we're 0-0, to be honest. I feel like Blackpool will probably just come and be happy with a draw as well, to be honest with how their results are going. But I do think we'll score just based on the fact that we have got Dunn and Phillips if he can be bothered. So we'll go with a 1-1. Yeah. We'll go with a draw. Season's over for both of us, innit? So we'll just move on and be same again next year and year after and year after. Birmingham Lincoln. Well, Birmingham lost away at Bolton, didn't they? And then Lincoln won 4-1 at Crawley. But let's be serious. It's a Birmingham win. It's just, how many am I going to give the brothers? The only points they've dropped in league at home are a point to Northampton, quite early doors, and a point to Blackpool. They've won everything else. In every competition, apart from Newcastle, they've won. Every single one. Not huge goal scorers. More often than not, it's a 2-0, a 2-1, do you know what I mean? A 1-0. They're not huge goal scoring games, the majority of them, but they're very comfy in them all. I'll tell you what, no, the recent fixtures have not been easy. Like Charlton at home, win. They had Bradford in semi-final of that cup. Bradford are like performing like a mid-table League One side at the minute. They look quite good, especially defensively, and they bet them 2-1. They bet Leyton Orient, another playoff chasing side, 2-1. They bet Wycombe were second in the league 1-0. Can't decide whether I want to give Lincoln a goal. I think I do. I feel like they have got a bit going forward, Lincoln, especially when they could be bothered against us. They left it too late against us, but they still got 3 goals, you know what I mean? They did look threatening down whiffs, especially when I forgot that lad's name. When he come off bench, he was really good. But yeah, I do think they'll score, but I do still think it'll be like a comfy 2-1, do you know what I mean? I feel like the score would make it look a lot closer than the game will actually be. I could see Birmingham dominating start to finish, Lincoln having like 1, 2, 3 shots on what I'm going in. That's what I can see. Bristol Rovers, Huddersfield. Huddersfield seem to be better away these days. At home, they've just been really crap. Like last few weeks, they've not scored in like 6 games at home. Probably quite thankful that this is away. I remember saying this about Hull actually when they were up in Sunderland, and then they ended up winning. Bristol Rovers at home aren't actually too shabby. They're not worst side you've ever seen at home, and they did just come off back of getting a big point really away at Shrewsbury, because Shrewsbury are going to be ones that are trying to catch Bristol Rovers. But I don't think it'll be a massive scoring game again. Just based on like what Huddersfield are. If they go 1-0 down Huddersfield, I don't think they'll win. Instinct says draw to me, like a 1-1 or maybe in Huddersfield like what. You know what? I'm gonna go with Huddersfield 1-0. I think it'll be close, but I also just think that Bristol Rovers lack that bit of edge going for it. I feel like they're lacking in both boxes, to be completely honest with you, but I do think they'd struggle to break Huddersfield down, is what I'm gonna go with. So I'll go with 1-0 Huddersfield. Burton Bolton. Burton have just lost 2-0 away. Wycombe and Bolton have turned into like gods. And also, if I'm to stick to my shout that I think Bolton can get autos, bearing in mind they're about 10 points off with, 10, 11 games left, they're going to have to win a lot of these games. They could probably drop points in 1, 2 max. I think they'll win here. It could be a close game, this as well, because Burton, I thought were quite hard to break down when we played them. We bet them in last minute at their place, and then we drew him at home. We should have won at home, to be fair. And at home, Burton aren't the worst side ever. You know what I mean? The bet Reading. They got a point off Blackpool. They're not that crap at home, especially recently. But I do like Bolton. I like Bolton. I think they've got a chance against anybody in this league. And I think the win against Birmingham is going to give them a right kick up arse, thinking like, we could actually kick on here big time. And I think they will. I'll go 2-0. I'll go 2-0 to Bolton. I feel like they're conceding in a few of these games still. But I feel like the defensive side of things is going to really start showing soon with Schumacher in charge. I don't think they'll concede a lot of goals once he gets them sorted in the next couple of weeks. Exeter Shrewsbury. I mean, this is Shrewsbury's last chance, basically. If they don't come here and win against a side that they've got to get in front of to stay up, bearing in mind they're like 10 points off, we game more. This is the chance. And I think they'll come out all guns blazing even for it. It's been very anti-Ainsworth because he's very like defensively solid in it, making it gritty and horrible. Probably grind a result out rather than trying to go and kill a side. But I don't think they can afford to not take foot off Exeter's neck if they get a chance here. But if they get one, they can't sit back. Otherwise, you're just inviting pressure and you will concede. I think they'll go for it, seriously. And Exeter have been all right recently as well. They've started like steadied ship a little bit. They've only lost 1 out of the last 4, but they did get anywhere an hour in against Charlton, in fairness. But I think Shrewsbury are going to come for this big time. If they lose this, seriously, I give up with them. I'm going to go 2-1 Shrewsbury. But I do honestly think this is last chance saloon for them. So they've got to go for it, haven't they? If they don't and they lose this, then my shout for Rangers to keep them up is wrong. Leyton Orient home to Northampton. Leyton Orient lost to Rotherham midweek. They've now lost 4 in a row to Bolton, Birmingham, Charlton and Rotherham. They're not scoring enough goals. Defensively, it's not the biggest problem ever. Yes, they're losing these games, but apart from Rotherham, they're two good sides. Northampton score a goal. Oh, can they score a goal? I do fancy one for a lot of time. They're not even big scorers in this league, but then I look at the personnel that they've got from an attacking point of view, and I think that they should have more than they do. They're always good for one, aren't they, I feel? And I do think they'll get one. But can Leyton Orient turn it around? They're not going to lose 5 on balance, are they? Again, Richie Wellens and Leyton Orient must be looking at this as like, you'd think they're not going to give up on playoffs yet. They're still in touching distance of it, and there's this many games left. But they've got to beat Northampton at home if you want to get promoted. Do you know what I mean? If you want to get playoffs, you've got to beat Northampton at home. Like I said, I feel like goal scoring has been a problem for him. Defensively, not so much. I will give Northampton a goal, but I do think Leyton Orient could run out fairly comfortable winners. I will go 3-1 to Leyton Orient, which might go a little bit against grain because Northampton don't concede loads and loads of goals in one game, that is. They've not conceded 3 since Bolton away, which was in January. But yeah, I'm going 3-1 Leyton Orient. I think this is where they turn it around. Peterborough Wycombe. I thought Peterborough were going to be in loads of shit. Like, a lot. The spine of that team and how young they all are, there was such a lack of experience. And, you know, when they were just heading down into pits of hell, losing games constantly, defensively horrendous. They were so easy to play against and cut open. Now, that has changed quite a bit. Last 5 games, 2 draws, 3 wins. Wycombe, the win against Burton might give them a little bit of like life again. I feel like they needed that. And they need Cornet again. He did start against Burton. Since he's been missing, he got injured against us, I think, or in training after us. After turning into the best player you've ever seen against us as well. And then they've been on a really tricky spell, to be honest with you. Since he's come back, they got a point against Wigan, but it was 0-0. He come off bench. He come off bench against Birmingham when they lost, and then he started against Burton at home. He got an assist and they won. I do think you are like heavily reliant on one man, which is a little bit worrying if he gets injured again with running for like how many sides are going to be up there now with this auto chase. Like you've got Charlton, Bolton, Wrexham breathing down your neck effectively. Or what I think could be breathing down the neck. Maybe the breaths from all the way over there, but they're still coming. But Peterborough have really tightened it up. They honestly have. Last 3 games at home they've won. They've not lost at home in 6. And against like Leyton, Orient. You've got to give Wycombe a goal, haven't you? I feel like you've just got to, because of Cody. And he's going to be starting now. You've got to give him a goal. At least. I'm struggling here. I really am. This is definitely what I'm least confident on out of them all. And I'm not even just saying this to like back up the Bolton thing. I don't think they'll win this. I actually don't. I could see a draw. And they're not winning a lot of games recently, have they? And it's not like they've had hardest fixtures you've ever seen apart from Birmingham away. I could see a 1-1. I'll tell you what, it were on the cusp of my lips then, 2-1 Peterborough, but I'm going to go with slightly safer option and go with a draw here at Peterborough and Wycombe. Stevenage and Mansfield. Stevenage have been actually quite good away recently. I don't know what's happened to them. They used to be like Arsenal at home and then Arse away. They are still definitely keeping it tune of like very low scoring games, focus on the defensive side of things and just try and hit someone off break, and that's what Stevenage have been for like months, if not years in this league when they've been here. And Mansfield are absolutely terrible. Like, when did they last win a game? You're looking at the 4th of January that they last won a game, and it was away at Stockport. Since then, a lot of red and 3 draws. Not scoring enough goals. I do think this will suit Stevenage, the way that Mansfield have been performing recently. And I know that's easy to say when they're just losing constantly. But Mansfield aren't humongous scorers. But you've always got a chance of scoring against them. This just absolutely screams 1-0 Stevenage, to be honest with you, looking at this. I never like going against certified bagsmen like Mansfield have got. But I'm going to, and I'm going to go with what I just said. I'm going to go 1-0 Stevenage. They've had 2 of them in the last 3 games. They won 1-0 away at Cambridge, won 1-0 at Shrewsbury. They scored against Huddersfield, but Huddersfield did beat them. I think they'll beat these 1-0. Wigan and Cambridge. Like I just said with the Stevenage thing, actually, Cambridge played these and had nothing. They created absolutely nothing entire game at home to Stevenage. Going away to Wigan. I don't know. I feel like Neil Harris is going to drill it into these players that this is one of the biggest chances to get a win probably for the rest of the season with fixtures that these have got. Like the Wigan manager situation, they sacked him. That a lot of the players continuously like being linked to it going. Wigan in general, the amount of shit that they're going on behind the scenes. I feel like Neil Harris is definitely one to try and rile it into his players to take advantage of that. And they started well, since he's come in. They've had 2 wins and a loss. They were battered really against Stockport, but they were definitely battered against Stevenage to the point that like they were a bit disgusting. But I think it's probably a bit of a wake up call, that Stevenage one. And again, I feel like this will be a low scoring game. Cambridge will probably focus on the defensive side of things, which again I feel like you would benefit from against Wigan. I feel like Wigan would like to soak up pressure a lot of the time and play you on counter, but at home you can't really do that, can you? Unless you've got Birmingham coming to town or someone that's going to like absolutely dominate possession start to finish, and then that'll suit you. But Wigan's home form isn't good in this division, and that's probably why. I think Cambridge will play them at their own game and win. I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go back-to-back 1-0s, and I'm going to get to Cambridge. And then seeing it out, we've got Wrexham and Rotherham. Rotherham have won 2 games in a row after we bet them at their place. They bet Bristol, Rovers and Leyton Orient. Big win that against Leyton Orient. Nombe, absolute flames. Wrexham 1-0 win against Huddersfield. Despite being probably worst side, they've come up trumps again, and it's just same story all year. All I've been saying is these that they will constantly just find a way to get something out of it, and it's just because of the experience and the players and the squad depth that they've got really coming off bench. I mean, Wrexham are going to score. That's the thing. I could honestly see Nombe playing like out of his skin and getting a move to these in summer. Just for anybody that wants to come back to this in July, you're welcome. There you go. I don't know, man. I can't see past the Wrexham win, to be honest with you. I know they've been very iffy recently, as have a lot of like the top sides. And at home, they've been shocking, to be honest. After having such a pristine record at home, Wrexham, for like a year and a half, They've lost like 4 out of the last 5, 4 out of the last 5, 6 games, I think. Or 3 out of the last 5, that's the one. Only one win in 6. But I do think that changes it. Again, Rotherham and Steve Evans, I'll tell you what, you know this bloke, he's going to have them up for this. But I think they'll come up trumps. I will go, I've wrote it down already, and I'm just going to sit here and patiently wait for you to guess what I'm going to say. 3, 2, 1. I've gone 2-1 Wrexham. I do just think they've got it with the personnel and the experience that they've got. And also, player for player, man for man, they're just a better side. And then I could also see Ollie Rathbone scoring against Rotherham. But that's that, boys. Thank you as always for watching. There'll be a championship video tomorrow. Make sure you like, subscribe if you did enjoy. Kiss, pleasure, see you in a bit.
I say I'm a man, yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.